When I was 10 years old, my parents died in a car accident while buying me oranges on the roadside. From then on, blood-stained oranges became my nightmare. I was so terrified that even just hearing the word made me afraid. My relatives couldn't tolerate my strange ailment, and unanimously demanded that I be sent to a mental hospital. In the end, my uncle Pei Yenchuan, who wasn't related to me by blood, took me back. He chopped down the orange tree in the yard and said to me, "Yaya, don't be afraid, this will be your home from now on." To fulfill this promise, he regarded oranges as a lifelong taboo. His fiancée of many years was kicked out of the house simply because she wore orange-scented perfume. That night, he looked at me seriously and said, "Yaya, in my heart, you are the most important person in this world. As long as it makes you happy, I'm willing to remain unmarried for life." From that moment on, my feelings for him changed. We had a reckless night together, leaving a mark of love. But just when I was full of anticipation that my wish would come true, Pei Yenchuan turned around and announced his marriage to his secretary. He placed an orange cake in front of me and said with an indifferent expression, "Xinyu, if you want to bless us, then eat this cake." The smell of oranges rushed towards me. In an instant, it evoked the most painful memories in the depths of my heart. It was as if what was in front of me wasn't cake, but the unseeing eyes of my parents before they died. I trembled as I picked up the spoon. But before the cake could reach my mouth, I couldn't help but throw up. Physiological tears welled up in the corners of my eyes. I tried my best to force out a flattering smile, but my face still turned pale with fear. The guests nearby all showed compassion and wanted to come over and help me out. But Pei Yenchuan looked at me with a cold expression. He picked up the glass I had just used and gently caressed the rim. He opened his mouth like passing a death sentence. "What you just drank was orange juice. Xinhe is right, you're not sick at all. Being afraid of oranges is just your way of gaining sympathy. Xinyu, you've grown up. I won't indulge you like I did when you were a child. If you can't correct your flaws, this house will no longer have a place for you." The cold voice was like a knife piercing into the bottom of my heart. The surrounding judgmental gazes made me want to disappear. I gritted my teeth and haphazardly stuffed a few mouthfuls of cake into my mouth. Not sweet, very bitter. Bitter enough to make one's heart tremble. Su Xinhe admired my miserable state and smiled with satisfaction. She took Pei Yenchuan's arm and playfully asked him to redecorate the wedding room. "I heard there used to be an orange tree in the yard. Why did you chop it down for no reason? I love eating oranges the most. Let's plant another one, okay? And the curtains at home aren't pretty either. It's best to change them to yellow. And here and there, put some orange potted plants, meaning to attract wealth and bring forth a precious child early." Su Xinhe chattered on and on, describing their future. Facing all the requests she made, Pei Yenchuan, who had always regarded oranges as a taboo, smiled and agreed to everything, completely disregarding me, whose face was pale. Watching the servants bring in various orange products one after another, I finally couldn't bear this kind of stimulation. I turned and rushed into the bathroom, throwing up violently. A thick, bloody smell welled up in my throat. I clenched my teeth, but my body couldn't stop trembling. The noisy sounds around me gradually became chaotic. It was as if I had returned to that night 10 years ago. My parents who died with unseeing eyes, my relatives who disliked and scolded me, and Pei Yenchuan, who descended from the sky and saved me from the abyss. But this time, Pei Yenchuan did not appear. When I regained consciousness again, I found myself lying alone in the hospital. The doctor looked at me with some pity. "You silly girl, knowing that you're allergic to oranges, why did you eat so much? Fortunately, we discovered it in time and just washed your stomach. If you had come any later, you would have died, you know? The only person who loved me has changed. Who else would care about my life or death?" I curled up in a corner, feeling extremely uncomfortable. Over the years, Pei Yenchuan had always held me in the palm of his hand and carefully protected me. So much so that I completely forgot what it was like to be a guest in someone else's home. Seeing this, the doctor sighed softly and earnestly advised, "It was your grandfather who called you and noticed something was wrong, notifying us to go and save you. When we arrived, you were vomiting blood, but Pei Yenchuan insisted that you were faking an illness and wouldn't let us take you away. Xinyu, after all, that is not your home. No matter how good Pei Yenchuan is to you, it is only temporary. You should listen to your grandfather and go abroad to reunite with your real family as soon as possible. I didn't know how to answer. I just lowered my head and slowly moved my hand towards my lower abdomen. Why are things in the world always like this? Full of coincidences and errors, making it difficult to choose. Back then, my mother broke ties with her family to be with my father. By the time my maternal grandfather traveled far and wide to reconcile with her, all he saw was my mother's cold tombstone. He wanted to take me away, but at that time, I had developed a severe psychological disorder due to the death of my parents. I was simply unable to live apart from Pei Yenchuan. Seeing my intense defensiveness, my grandfather sighed and left a number. Grandfather isn't an unreasonable person. The kindness the Pei family showed will be repaid by the Shen family. Whenever you want to come back, just call grandfather. My grandfather kept his word and became Pei Yenchuan's company's largest partner. Pei Yenchuan faced several crises, all of which he secretly helped resolve. Not long ago, my grandfather contacted me again, saying he was getting old and urging me to return and inherit the family business. Just as I was hesitating, Pei Yenchuan walked into my room on the night we broke up. He knelt down in front of me, looking at me earnestly and sincerely saying, Yeah, don't take outsiders' words to heart. You're not a burden. To me, you are the most important person in the world. As long as I can make you happy, I'm willing to remain unmarried for life for you. Perhaps the moonlight was too hazy. Perhaps his words were too ambiguous. Perhaps the bond of dependence built over the years was too deep. The red thread that had been hanging in my heart for so many years snapped. I uncontrollably kissed him. Pei Yenchuan's body stiffened for a moment, but the next second, he held the back of my head and deepened the kiss. At that moment, I thought my years of affection had finally paid off. I thought Pei Yenchuan had finally understood my feelings. So I abandoned the last bit of reason, and only wanted to be with him, regardless of the consequences. But when I woke up, I saw not Pei Yenchuan's gentle smile, but an empty bed. From that day on, Pei Yenchuan didn't come back for a long time. I contacted the people around him, and they only said that Pei Yenchuan was on a business trip, and told me not to overthink it. Some close friends even joked, "What are you afraid of? Your little uncle has doted on you since you were a child. How could he abandon you? Don't worry, even if his legs were broken, he would crawl back to see you with his last breath." Recalling all the good things Pei Yenchuan had done for me over the years. Although I was uneasy, I didn't think too much about it. Until shortly after, I went for a physical examination and found out I was pregnant. This sudden surprise instantly dispelled all my doubts. Without hesitation, I gave up the opportunity to go abroad to inherit the family business. I just wanted to wait for my birthday to tell Pei Yenchuan this unexpected joy. But arriving before the surprise was the news of his upcoming marriage. I thought he was just teasing me to anger me. I thought it was all just a misunderstanding. But when I saw that huge orange cake, when I saw the coldness in his eyes, I instantly understood everything. Pei Yenchuan didn't want me anymore. He had his own home, a home that belonged only to him and Su Xinha. Once again, I had become that unwanted burden. Everything that happened at the birthday banquet forced me to make a new choice. After thinking it over, I picked up my phone, about to call my grandfather, when a sudden ringtone cut through the silence of the night. The moment I clicked it open, my friend's anxious voice came through. "Xinyu, what are you doing? Hurry up and go online, you're famous online." I opened the link with confusion. My face paled instantly. What caught my eye was the report of my parents' tragic car accident, and photos from last night's birthday party. The report said that I had been naughty since I was a child and caused the death of my own parents. So much so that relatives and friends were unwilling to take in an orphan like me. It was Pei Yenchuan who took me in out of kindness and spoiled me in every way. But I repaid kindness with malice, not only forcing away his ex-girlfriend, but also making a scene at the engagement banquet, publicly embarrassing his fiancée, Su Xinha. The report was very pointed. and the posts scolding me had piled up like mountains. This girl must have the fate of a cursed star, harming relatives and friends. Anyone who gets close to her will have bad luck. So young and already so vicious. Killing her own parents isn't enough. She has to harm her savior. How can there be such a heartless beast? She doesn't like her uncle, does she? How shameless. Dressing so flamboyantly at such a young age. She's clearly not a decent person. Someone even posted a video of me throwing up violently in the bathroom. They said in a mocking tone, "This little girl is so scheming. She's always like pretending to be sick to gain sympathy." CEO Pei felt sorry for her because she didn't have parents, and spoiled her like a princess, but she's still not satisfied. As long as CEO Pei gets close to other women, she'll try to kill herself and ruin everything. Last night, she just ate a few bites of the engagement cake and she acted like this, as if someone was abusing her. What an ingrate. This comment led to even more fierce scolding. All kinds of foul language were almost unbearable to read. Seeing that I hadn't said anything, my friend was a little anxious. "Xingyu, are you okay? Don't worry too much. These people online believe everything they hear. Uncle Pei has always been so kind to you, you should talk to him and explain. As long as he's willing to stand up and speak for you. I'd like to see who else dares to talk about you like this." I gave a helpless wry smile. All the details in the report were known only to me and Pei Yenchuan. The mastermind behind it was almost self-evident. I tried to keep my voice calm, but the moment the screen went dark, tears still flowed uncontrollably. When he took me home that year, Pei Yenchuan vowed he would use his sincerity to build a shelter for me, to protect me for a lifetime of peace and happiness. But now he was using my past as a weapon to hurt me. Oh well, people's hearts change easily. Vows can never be counted on. Pei's residence may be nice, but it's not my home after all. I touched my still flat stomach, hardened my heart, and finally made a decision. Just as I had finalized the date to go abroad with the doctor, Pei Yenchuan suddenly pushed the door open and entered. He looked at me sternly. "Xingyu, come out for a moment, I have something to tell you." I was stunned for a moment. The last time Pei Yenchuan spoke to me with this kind of attitude was when I received a love letter from a classmate. That time, he tore the love letter to shreds with a grim face and gave me a harsh scolding. Afterwards, he bought me a gift to apologize. Yeah, I didn't mean to lose my temper at you. I'm just afraid you'll leave me." His deep eyes were imprinted in my heart, stirring up layers of ripples. It was from that time that I began to notice the subtle changes between us. At this moment, Pei Yenchuan was still looking at me with that silent and restrained gaze, making my heart pound. I subconsciously followed him to the corner of the stairs. Before I could open my mouth, a pair of big hands suddenly pushed me down. Intense pain instantly swept through my body. When I raised my head in confusion, I only saw Pei Yenchuan's cold back. "Xinha saw our memories, she's unhappy. She insisted that I prove that she is the most important person in my heart. I'm sorry, Xingyu, she is my wife, I have to make a choice." Warm blood soaked my white skirt. I tremblingly reached out a hand to him for help. "Uncle." But Pei Yenchuan never looked back at me from beginning to end, feeling the loss of the life in my womb. I slowly closed my eyes in pain. "Pei Yenchuan, I've paid you back the life I owed you. But what about the love you owe me? What will be used to repay it?" In despair, I painfully dialed that familiar number. "Grandpa, I want to go home, it's not good here, people always bully me here." My grandfather's voice gradually became blurry in my ears. When I woke up again, I only saw the doctor's distressed yet scolding eyes. "You girl, you're really courting death. Stomach pumping, miscarriage, fracture, what are you going to do next? Are you only satisfied when you give your life away here?" I lowered my head in embarrassment. The doctor looked at me with exasperation. Then he went out to call my grandfather to report my condition. When he came back in, his face had softened a lot. "Get some rest," the old man said. "The Shen family won't let people bully us for nothing." My grandfather worked quickly, arranging a plane for me to go abroad in the shortest amount of time. Just as I was preparing to go through discharge procedures, I received a call from Pei Yenchuan. "Come downstairs, I'll take you home." As he spoke, Pei Yenchuan's car was already parked at the entrance. I habitually opened the passenger seat door. But I saw Su Xinhe's face, which held a sneering smile. She sized me up and down, her gaze settling on my leg in a cast. She exaggeratedly covered her nose. What a strong perfume smell, Xinyu. Why do you have to dress yourself up so carefully every time you meet Yanchuan? Could it be that you really have some kind of dirty thoughts about your elder, like they say? She gave Pei Yanchuan a meaningful glance. Deliberately dragging out her tone, she said coquettishly, "Honey, I'm allergic to perfume. The smell will make me uncomfortable." Pei Yanchuan was silent for a moment, then made his choice without hesitation. "Don't wander around, I'll call a driver to take you home." Before I could answer, the car door slammed shut. As the car drove away, splashing mud covered my calves. I looked up at the gloomy sky and sighed helplessly. No one will pick me up. Because that place is no longer my home. Now I need to leave and return to my real family. I quickly composed myself and sent a message to my grandfather, walking in the opposite direction from Pei Yanchuan. Halfway there, Su Xinhe provocatively sent a selfie. She was wearing a wedding dress, leaning against Pei Yanchuan, smiling triumphantly. "Everyone says Yanchuan dotes on you so much he'd give up his life for you. I guess that's all it is. If you want to live safely and stably in this house in the future, then keep your tail between your legs and behave. Otherwise, everything you've experienced today is just the beginning." Pei Yanchuan, who hadn't contacted me in 3 months, also proactively sent a message. A very short sentence, only 3 words. "Don't be willful. Children who are not loved have no right to be willful. I don't want to be a pitiful creature living under someone else's roof. I want to go home, back to the home that truly belongs to me." Lost in thought, the Shen family's private plane landed in front of me. I blacklisted both of their numbers and slowly walked inside. Pei Yanchuan didn't take what had happened recently to heart. Where could a helpless little girl go? She's just throwing a tantrum and disappearing. And when she figures things out, she'll come back. He methodically prepared for his wedding, waiting for Xinyu to obediently lower her head and admit her mistakes like before. But on the wedding day, a group of men in black suits rushed into the scene and wrecked the place. He angrily tried to step forward and question them, and the men leisurely produced 2 gift boxes. Why get angry on such a joyous occasion? "I was entrusted by old Shin to deliver these gifts to you." The gift boxes were opened, one containing a statement of withdrawal of investment from Shin Group. The other was a report of miscarriage with Shen Yu's name on it. In that instant, Pei Yanchuan felt as if his entire world had gone silent. The 2 light pieces of paper felt like they weighed 10,000 pounds. They pressed down heavily on his heart, making it hard to breathe. Abortion report. Xinyu was pregnant. When did this happen? How did I not know? Pei Yanchuan took 2 hurried steps forward. His voice held a hint of sadness that he didn't even realize was there. But the person across from him was even more resolute. "You don't need to know because from now on Miss Shin's affairs have nothing to do with you. As for the money you've spent on her over the years, the Shin family will return it in full. But the harm you've brought her, the Shin family will also demand repayment for it one by one. Miss Shin's parents are indeed gone, but the people of the Shin family aren't all dead yet." The old man said that as long as he has a breath left in him, he will never allow outsiders to bully his precious granddaughter. Xinyu. Shin Corporation. Pei Yanchuan finally realized it belatedly. That timid little girl was actually the Shen family's only daughter, the sole heir to the Shen Corporation. No wonder the Shen family didn't choose so many major cooperative partners these past few years. They insisted on choosing his small, insignificant company. It turned out to be because of the relationship with Xinyu. He foolishly thought that Xinyu had nowhere to rely on and couldn't live without him. It turned out that all these years, he had been benefiting from Xinyu. Pei Yanchuan's heart was filled with mixed feelings, and he didn't know what kind of reaction to make for a moment. He lowered his head and looked at the abortion report in his hand. His thoughts followed the thin paper, back to that late night. Back to the late night that pushed them into the abyss of no return. That day, his girlfriend of many years insisted on sending Xinyu away. She threatened. "It's just a bottle of perfume, what's the big deal? I'm the future mistress of this house. Am I supposed to live catering to a little girl? Besides, Xinyu is already an adult. You've raised her for so many years, it's already considered the height of benevolence. You can't keep her by your side forever, raising her for life, right? The more she spoke, the more aggrieved she became, and her attitude gradually worsened. We've been together for so many years, and I've never seen you so concerned about me. You remember her birthday, the day she came to the Pei family, remember her period, but you can't remember anything about us. If you insist on keeping Xinyu by your side, then we'll break up. These words touched Pei Yinchuan's sore spot and exposed the feelings he had hidden for so long. He realized for the first time that his feelings for this little girl didn't seem to be so pure. He couldn't imagine life without Xinyu. So, after weighing the options, Pei Yinchuan broke up with his girlfriend and chose Xinyu. But that night, all kinds of complex emotions impacted his heart. Pei Yinchuan almost couldn't suppress the surging emotions in his heart. He could only calm his mood by drinking. As the strong liquor went down, the throbbing in his heart became even more apparent. He ultimately failed to hold the line, and took that step he shouldn't have taken. When Pei Yinchuan woke up, he felt guilty. He didn't dare to face Xinyu, let alone his own heart, and even less dared to face the accusations and discussions of the world. So, he hid like a thief. He self-deceptively announced his relationship with Su Xinhe. He used this to dispel the unease in his heart, to draw a clear line between himself and Xinyu. But Pei Yinchuan never expected that Xinyu would actually get pregnant that night. Thinking about everything he had done to Xinyu, Pei Yinchuan's heart clenched fiercely. He was the one who personally pushed Xinyu down the stairs. He was the one who killed their child. He was the one who lured Xinyu into making a mistake, but didn't dare to admit it, leaving a little girl to bear all the blame. No wonder old Master Shin was so angry. No wonder that usually low-key and reticent old man would take such drastic action. He had made one mistake after another, hurting that innocent and pure little girl, trampling on that pure and sincere heart. Pei Yinchuan's body swayed, nearly falling. He choked and asked, "Where is Xinyu? Is she okay? I want to see her." At this moment, Pei Yinchuan didn't care about the surrounding gazes or the consequences of this matter. He was just frantically thinking about Xinyu, wanting to see her one more time. Miss Shen's affairs are none of your concern. You should worry more about yourself. The people of the Shen family can't be bullied by just anyone. Su Xinhe felt the tension between the two. She grabbed Pei Yinchuan's hand anxiously. "Pei Yinchuan, what exactly is going on? Isn't Xinyu your junior? How could she be pregnant with your child? Did you cheat on me? I want you to explain yourself clearly." This time, Pei Yinchuan didn't choose to compromise again. He forcefully shook off her hand and said coldly, "Let's call off the wedding. I'm going to find Xinyu." When the butler showed me the video, I was sunbathing on the beach of the sanatorium. Seeming to see the resistance in my heart, the butler added, "Miss, don't worry, no one dares to reveal your information unless you nod your head." I fiddled with the sand, without speaking. Since that rainy night, I had resolved to completely sever ties with Pei Yinchuan. All the rights and wrongs had become the past. I didn't want to, and wasn't willing to argue about who was right and who was wrong anymore. I just wanted to live the present day peacefully and steadily. Grandpa looked at me, and his mood suddenly became a little depressed. "Yeah, Grandpa is sorry for you. I should have picked you up sooner, to save you from suffering so much in the Pei family." He turned to look at my face, a hint of undisguised sadness appearing in his eyes. "You and your mother are very similar, not only in appearance, but also in temperament and personality. Grandpa told me that Grandma passed away early, and he raised Mom all by himself. At that time he was busy with work and neglected to take care of Mom. As a result, Mom placed all her dependence on Dad. For this reason, she didn't hesitate to break with the family. Actually, I regretted it a long time ago. I wanted to bring your mother back many times, but I just couldn't bring myself to do it. Who would have thought that I would miss your mother's last moments like this? Therefore, I must not let you repeat her mistakes." Speaking of this, Grandpa couldn't help but sigh. The sadness revealed in his eyes almost swallowed me. I'm old, and the people around me are meeting less and less often. I really don't want to experience the pain of an old man losing his child again. I looked at Grandpa's gray hair and wrinkled face, and lowered my head with some guilt. It's my fault. I shouldn't have disregarded my own flesh and blood for a man. Grandpa waved his hand. It's not your fault. I heard that if it weren't for Pei Yinchuan back then, you would have starved to death on the streets long ago. In any case, he raised you, so it's only natural that you're reluctant to leave him. That's why I didn't kill him, but just gave him a lesson. Grandpa, who built his business from scratch, was extremely ruthless in his actions. He was so cruel to his only daughter, let alone Pei Yinchuan. If he had acted according to his usual methods, it wouldn't have been as simple as just smashing things up. I'm afraid Pei Yinchuan would have had a hard time living in this world in one piece. We chatted for a few more words, and Grandpa suddenly changed the subject. He asked with some fear and some expectation, "Is your mother doing well?" I was stunned for a moment, and then smiled. Mom is doing very well. Until the moment they died, they loved each other deeply. I still remember what the forensic doctor told me after the autopsy. At the critical moment of life and death, Dad protected Mom with his body. It's just that his fragile body couldn't withstand the crushing of fate. In the end, the two of them passed away together. Now, when I recall the days when they were alive, I always feel like it's a world away. In my memory, although our family wasn't as rich and powerful as Grandpa, we were still well fed and clothed. Dad doted on Mom so much that even I couldn't compare. If it weren't for that accident, I think I would be the happiest girl in the world. I wouldn't have fallen so deeply in love with Pei Yinchuan because of his small gestures of kindness. Nor would I be so sad because of his betrayal. That's good. In this way, I can give your deceased grandmother an explanation. Don't worry, Grandpa understands now. I will never force you to do things you don't like. From now on, you can do whatever you want. Even if you want the moon in the sky, Grandpa can satisfy you. I smiled. What do I want the moon in the sky for? I just want a home. I used to place all my hopes on Pei Yinchuan. Now I have found my real family. I have decided to live a new life for myself. I smiled and looked at Grandpa, and said seriously and firmly, "Grandpa, don't worry, I'm no longer the little girl who only knows how to cry. I've grown up, and I'm willing to intern at your company, and I will definitely not embarrass you." After hearing my words, my grandfather was stunned for a moment. Then he burst out laughing. His eyes and eyebrows were full of joy. He patted my shoulder and said happily, "That's my own granddaughter, just like me when I was young." Good. With those words from you, I can die in peace. I'll arrange for you to join the company tomorrow. Earning money doesn't matter, as long as you're happy. Grandpa has mountains of gold and silver for you to spend. I originally thought Grandpa was just being exaggeratingly polite. But when I actually entered the company, I was shocked by everything before me. The Shun Group is involved in shipping, foreign trade, real estate, and many other industries. The scale was far beyond my imagination. Compared to this huge enterprise, Pei Yinchuan's assets were simply insignificant. And compared to Grandpa's unconditional love, Pei Yinchuan's good points were not worth mentioning at all. Seeing me standing there dumbfounded, the secretary beside me smiled. "Don't worry, little Shun. Mr. Shun has already arranged everything. We've all been waiting for a long time, just waiting for your instructions and orders." Looking at everything before me, I finally understood Grandpa's good intentions for me. It turns out that true love is not about cultivating the other person into a weak and easily bullied vase who only knows how to cry, but to support her, to go towards a wider world. My eyes were slightly red. I whispered in my heart, "Thank you, Grandpa." With everyone's united help, I quickly gained a foothold in the company. Grandpa would come to the company to see me from time to time. Sometimes he would impart some experience to me. Sometimes he would tell me some funny stories about my mother when she was little. "Your mother looks gentle and quiet, but she's stronger than anyone else at heart." Back then, I just said a few angry words, and she was actually able to be so cruel as to never come and see me, even until her death. "You're just like her, stubborn and headstrong. With a little polish, Grandpa believes you will definitely achieve great things." In order not to disappoint Grandpa's trust, I gave my all and worked hard every day. And in the days with family, no matter how late I got home, there was always a light on for me. There was always a bowl of warm and delicious porridge. This elderly man compensated me twice over with all his guilt and longing. And I, in such simple and peaceful years, gradually healed the wounds in my heart. Until one ordinary morning, I routinely pushed open the door to the office. But in the office, I saw that familiar face. I frowned and turned to ask the assistant beside me, "What is he doing here?" Mr. Shin agreed for him to come. Mr. Shin instructed that some things have to be settled. I was silent for a moment, nodded, and sat down opposite Pei Yenchuan. At first, Pei Yenchuan was still talking about cooperation in a decent manner. But halfway through he suddenly lowered his head. His voice was very soft, but he said very clearly, "I'm sorry." I put down the pen in my hand and looked at Pei Yenchuan seriously. "You don't need to apologize to me. In any case, you raised me well. Just for the sake of that kindness of raising me, I can't blame you for anything. In the beginning, I resented him, I hated him. But after experiencing more things, I let it go. At least in those years with Pei Yenchuan, I was very happy. Clothes and shoes were always the latest models of the season. Regardless of the wind and rain, no matter how busy he was at work, Pei Yenchuan always insisted on picking me up and dropping me off from school. His patience and gentleness permeated almost my entire life. He was the brightest ray of light in my dim and silent years. If it weren't for him, I would most likely have grown up in a mental hospital. Or endure the neglect and ridicule of other relatives, living a life of being scorned and resented. So, even though Pei Yenchuan owed me in this relationship, I don't want to blame him for anything. I just want to leave everything in the past. Those beautiful, painful, and unforgettable memories, all left in the past. But Pei Yenchuan was unwilling. Our positions seemed to be reversed overnight. He became that stubborn and willful child, and I became that mature and indifferent adult. Pei Yenchuan disregarded everything and wanted to take me back. He looked at me with a very childish and aggrieved expression. "Shinyu, I really can't live without you. In the days since you left, I've dreamed of you every night. When I come to the living room, I can see you lying on the sofa watching TV. When I walk into the bedroom, I can see your timid eyes holding a small bear. The kitchen garden, even the basement, every place in the house has your shadow. 10 years, Shinyu, a whole 10 years. I witnessed your growth, and you ran through the most beautiful years of my life. How can I forget? How can I let go?" Speaking to this point, Pei Yenchuan's eyes were already red. I looked at the wrinkles at the corners of his eyes, and then I realized. The man who was once a towering and omnipotent figure in my eyes had already been gradually aging. He began to become old and tired. He gradually began to reveal his fragile side. He gradually began to rely on me. "Come back with me. I admit that I did a lot of wrong things before, and I also admit my selfishness and cowardice. In the past, I was too timid to admit my feelings for you. But I swear, from now on I will make it up to you doubly. I will definitely make you the happiest woman in the world." If it were the me of the past, I would definitely be moved by this statement. Because in the past years, Pei Yenchuan was my only salvation. But after I have seen a bigger world, after I have experienced new possibilities in life, I understand that love is just the most insignificant trace in life. Leaving Pei Yenchuan, I can still live a good life. I can still choose the life I want. So I am unwilling, and I will not go back to the past. I didn't rush to answer Pei Yenchuan, silently peeled an orange and handed it over. You see, I'm not afraid of oranges anymore. Although I still don't like the smell of this plant, I'm not afraid anymore. I'm grown up, I don't need anyone's protection anymore. Over the years, Pei Yenchuan used fine clothes and delicacies to create a perfect greenhouse for me. He allowed me to grow carefree in that greenhouse, enjoying his pampering and companionship. But correspondingly, everything I had was in his hands. If he was in a good mood, he could walk into my room. If he was afraid of facing criticism, he could push me out. If he wanted to marry another woman, he wanted me to curl up and live humbly. Such a life might have been good for Shinyu, who was helpless at the age of 10. But such a life cannot trap me now. I don't like playing the piano, I don't like dancing or painting. I like swimming, rock climbing, everything you think is dangerous. Pei Yenchuan, you have never really understood me. You just want to shape me into a well-behaved and sensible doll in your heart, but I am unwilling. I have my own life to live. Saying that, I handed the messages sent by Su Xinhe to Pei Yanchuan. Hundreds of messages, all of them were vicious curses. She said I was shameless, seducing my elders. Said I was shameless, destroying her family. If it wasn't for your playing hard to get, how could Pei Yanchuan have abandoned me? You bitch, when I find you I will definitely not let you go. It's all because of you that I have become a laughingstock in everyone's eyes. I hate you, I hate you. I looked at Pei Yanchuan's shocked expression. Calmly spoke. Did you see your selfishness hurt more than just me? If you want to make up for it, then make it up to someone else. Because I don't care about you at all anymore. For me, Pei Yanchuan, Su Xinhe and the people on the street are no different. It will no longer cause any ripples in my heart. Pei Yanchuan didn't speak for a long time. The fiery flame in his eyes dimmed little by little. He nodded. I understand. Xinyu, thank you. Thank you for your 10 years of companionship. Thank you for everything you told me. Actually, the year I met you was also a low point in my career. It was your arrival that brought me hope. Over the years, I have always thought that I was saving you, and always treated you with a condescending attitude. But in fact, you saved me. 10 years ago it was, and 10 years later it still is. After speaking, Pei Yanchuan randomly signed his name on the contract in front of him. He left almost in a panic. Not long after that, I heard that he and Su Xinhe remarried. Not because of love, but because of guilt. The life after the two got married was a complete mess, with constant disputes. Pei Yanchuan has become more and more distant from the way he was in my memory. But all of this doesn't matter anymore. Now I am living very well, very happily.